The name comes from the passive house itself, without a minimum on additional technique or additional crunches like petrol and so on, can give comfort to the inhabitants. And I made also in my history in my architecture the experience that first of all the biggest demand traditionally was the heating, and therefore the passive house concentrates in heating, and we can come down with heating by better building shell, more insulation, until a point where it doesn't give sense to give more insulation and even make better windows, because the losing through the necessary air exchange is higher than the losing through the shell. And in this point it gives more sense to keep the energy which is embodied in the used air and goes to the outside, to keep this energy inside the house. And you can do it by controlled air exchange and heat recovering. And therefore you need up from a certain point this heat recovering from the used air. And the idea was, if I have already these costs, isn't it possible to heat the house with the air which I have to heat up if I take it in the fresh air? And the air is a very bad transport medium for heat, and therefore the heat the air can transport is limited. But the idea was to get rid of the traditional heating, to lower the cost, because we can heat with the air, which is anyway necessary. And there was done calculation how much energy can the air carry if we don't have more air exchange than hygienically necessary. And second, if we have no more air temperatures than about 50–55 degrees, so that you don't get this climate effect. And the result of the calculation was the energy the air can transport into the house is not more than 10 watt per square meter. And the reverse answer was, the reverse question was, how has the building look like not to need more than 10 watt heat load by square meter? And then the calculation was done, how has the wall look like, how has the window to be, how airtight has the building to be. And they were coming up with limits. The airtightness has to be a specific number, the windows have to have a U value, the wall have to have a special U value. Then you are reaching this demand not more than 10 watt per square meter heat load, and you can heat with air, and you make the savings on the traditional heating. And those were giving the passive house standard. And this standard is quite low and has become the limit for all other strategies for energy saving. And it has the beside effect of the better indoor climate. That's the passive house idea. I think now we have to go beyond this point, because there's still, beside of heating, with passive house concept it's really down with 15 kilowatt hours per square meters per year. We have also to serve the warm water demand and the electricity demand, because they could be higher than the heating demand in the passive house. And therefore we are speaking now also about the active solar house, or solar active house, and we try to cover also the warm water demand with active means, because others are not possible. You have to take in the local resources, and we want to serve the entire house with own produced electricity. So the goal is that the house does not need these crunches of foreign outside help to give good climate and high comfort to the inhabitants. That's the goal we are working on. And I think best we can working on with a new kind of architecture, not just forcing this new strategy on old type of architecture.